Freeholder Bergen.
Present.
Freeholder Carter.
Here.
Freeholder Estrada.
Present.
Freeholder Granados.
Present.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Here.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Here.
Freeholder Wright.
Here.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Here.
And Chairman Hudak.
I'm here.
Chairman, you have 9 freeholders present.
Thank you, Jim. Please lead us in the prayer and the salute to the flag.
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his spirit on all who work for justice and peace. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, if you would kindly read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Chair wishes to announce that pursuant to requirements of New Jersey statutes annotated, Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances, to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 with the Office of the County Clerk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. First, we have a presentation from the board. For the past 27 years, we have been very fortunate to have in our service a very dedicated individual who is going to be leaving us next month, I believe? 31st of this month. He'll be leaving us on the 31st of this month, and we wanted to express our gratitude to Under Sheriff Vincent Petrolio. And so at this time, I'd like to step down to present him with a resolution, and if the members of the board would come down and join me, I think it would be very appropriate.
Chair.
It's a very lengthy resolution, but my pleasure to read it. And it says, whereas the Union County Board of Chosen Freeholders wishes to recognize Under Sheriff Vincent Petrolio for his 36 years of dedicated service to the County of Union and wish him well in his retirement. And whereas he is a graduate of Union County College with an associate's, where he received an associate's degree in 1978, he went on to pursue his undergraduate studies at Kane University, graduating summa cum laude with a 4.0 in 1980. He would go on to achieve his post-baccalaureate major in economics in 1981, and then a summa cum laude graduation with a master's in public administration in 1984, also from Kane. Whereas prior to his collegiate studies, Vincent served in the United States Army from 1969 to 1971. He graduated from the U.S. Army Infantry Leaders School at Fort Benning, Georgia, and was promoted to the rank of Sergeant E5. He served with the 1st Cavalry Division in the Republic of Vietnam from 1970 to 1971. He's a recipient of the Vietnam Service Ribbon, the Army Commendation Medal, Good Conduct Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal for 60 years served, with 60 device, and National Defense Service Ribbon. Whereas he began his employment in the Sheriff's Office in 1978 as an officer, where he acquired a familiarity with all functions of the Sheriff's Office, including transportation, building security, search and rescue, and identification. Before becoming Undersheriff in 2001, he served as the Sheriff's Office Captain from 1997 to 2000, and before that he spent 7 years as a lieutenant and a sergeant. Whereas he supervised the Sheriff's Identification Bureau from 1995 to present, supervised the Sheriff's Firearm Unit from 1993 to 2001, supervised the Sheriff's Emergency Medical Response Teams from 1997 to present. He also had the 3-year assignment in the Union County Courts as Sergeant, a 7-year assignment in the Administration Unit, a 4-year assignment in the Warrant Squad, and a 7-year experience with Ninth Process. Whereas he serves and continue to serve on professional boards and association, and over the years has amassed several professional certificates. He has served 3 years as the President Superior Officers Association FOP Lodge 103, 3 years as the President of the Sheriff's PBA Local 108. He served as the Paramedic Coordinator for the City of Elizabeth's EMS, has sat on the Board of Directors for the Union County Employees Federal Credit Union for 15 years. He's a certified police recruit training instructor for the New Jersey Police Training Commission and a certified firearms instructor, first aid, CPR instructor, paramedic, and EMT. He is also a member of the Vietnam Veterans American Chapter 779, Linden, New Jersey, where he has served as treasurer since 2008. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the Union County hereby express its sincerest thanks and deepest appreciation to Under Sheriff Vincent DeTrolio for his 36 unyielding years of dedication to the residents of Union County, and wish him nothing but health and happiness in his retirement. We thank you so much for everything you've done. We have this resolution. And I just want to express on behalf of the board the utmost professionalism by which you've conducted your duties over these so many years. We appreciate it. We'll sorely miss it. And, because of all the men you've brought up through the ranks, we know that the Sheriff's Office will continue to function at such a high level. And that's really, a testament to the work that you've done. So thank you so much. You want to say a few words?
Sure. I don't know why I'm taking this microphone. I shouldn't be saying a few words. I just want to say it's been an honor and a privilege to work here in Union County for the last 36 years. During that time, I've made a lot of good friends. I've worked with some wonderful people, and I've seen how government can work and then how it can work well. I just hope Union County continues on the path that they're going, and I thank the freeholders and everyone here for simply coming out tonight to show that the government process works. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to jump into our agenda. First, we have communications and to note and file. May I have a motion to accept the communications?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made, I'm sorry, who was that? Freeholder Mir?
DJ.
No, Phil Quast.
Freeholder Kowalski made the motion, who seconded? Sorry about that. Well, it's been summer vacation, not sure. Motion was made by Freeholder Kowalski and it was seconded by Freeholder Mirabella. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. We now have minutes for approval. May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion was made this time by Freeholder Mirabella and it was seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. An inversion. Please read the roll, sir.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes, I'd like to abstain from the June 5th minutes and the others.
Freeholder Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye to all, with the exception of the June 5th, 2014 agenda setting meeting. I will abstain on that particular meeting.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative for the minutes, with the exception of the June 5th, 2014 minutes, of which you have 7 votes in the affirmative with 2 abstentions.
Thank you. We're now going to move to ordinances for adoption. At this point, the meeting is open for public comment for the purposes of commenting only on ordinance number 757-2014.
Chairman,
Yes.
if I would read the ordinance by title.
Oh, I apologize. Mr. Clerk, can you please read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance 758, 2014, bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements in, by, and for the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $6,742,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Thank you. At this point, I will now open the meeting up to comments as the purpose of commenting only on ordinance number 758, 2014.
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson Garwood. Maybe I missed the meeting. I actually did because I think I was on vacation, but I don't understand what this ordinance is for. I can guess at it, and I guess taking a guess, then I can speak about my guess. But, you know, it appears to be one of the road paving project bonds, and I've spoke about this in the past 6 months about in the budget. You took $1 million out of the road paving, and I see now you're borrowing obviously $1 million more.
Mr. Patterson, I want to stop you because the subject of the ordinance is not road paving.
Okay.
So if you'd like, and this one time only, I will be happy to have you sit down and we can have someone come up to explain to you what the ordinance is, and then you can comment on that. Fair?
Wow.
I know, it's a moment, isn't it? Why don't you have a seat?
Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna help you out. It was the last meeting, sir. Mr. Director Zuber, would you kindly just give a quick explanation?
I will do my best, Mr. Chairman. This is part of your Turf and Build initiative. This is for the construction of 4 synthetic turf fields, Matano Park in Elizabeth, Madison Avenue Park in Rawway, Rawway River Park, and Cedarbrook Park in Plainfield.
Thank you, Director. Mr. Patterson, do you want to reclaim your time? Okay, fair enough. Any other comments from the public regarding that ordinance? Seeing none, Vice Chairman?
Yes, I'll move ordinance number 758, 2014 for final reading and authorizing the clerk of the board to advertise same in accordance with the law.
May I have a second?
Second.
The motion was made by the Vice Chairman and it was seconded by Freeholder Mirabella. Mr. Clerk, kindly read the roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. We now will move on to ordinances for introduction. And Vice Chairman?
Yes, I'll move ordinance 759, 2014 for first reading and authorize the clerk of the board to advertise same in accordance with the law. Final reading and public hearings are scheduled for September 11th, 2014.
Chairman,
Mr. Clerk?
if I may, can I read the ordinance by title?
Yes.
Ordinance 759, 2014, bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery, new additional furnishings, new communication, signal systems, equipment, and new information technology, telecommunications equipment in, by, and for the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $38,793,236, to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a state grant, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Make it official. Does Vice Chairman have to read his statement again?
I would probably say yes at this point.
Okay, let's just,
Error on the
dot
caution.
the i's and cross the t's. Vice Chairman?
Sure. I will move ordinance number 759, 2014 for first reading, and authorizing the clerk of the board to advertise same in accordance with it.
Second?
Second.
All right. Motion made by the Vice Chairman, seconded by Freeholder Mirabella. Mr. Clerk, read the
Freehold-
roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. At this point, at this time, the meeting is open to the public for purposes of commenting on resolutions being adopted tonight. Kindly state your name and town of ordinance for the record and the resolution to which you are referring. And please remember, there is a 5-minute time limit. Any members of the public wishing to speak?
All right, John Berry of Kenilworth. I got 3 things, kind of working backwards. On 690, this thing about changing the name from the Star Ledger to NJ Advanced Media, I think the Advanced Media owns the Star Ledger. I mean, if you know, or if there's some reason for this, like, is the Star Ledger going bust, or is there going to be another paper? I don't know if they explained this to you. You could speak freely. I don't think the Star Ledger covers here. I mean, they're not going to hear about this. 677, that's the Warrenanko ice rink thing. 381,000 for Tenetta for ice rink repairs. I didn't look this up, but I thought that was going to be a indoor soccer field, and there were going to be 2 ice rinks in Oak Ridge. Does this resolution mean that those plans are gone? There won't be any Oak Ridge ice rinks, and the ice rink will remain at Warrenanko? And the last question is on 664. And this is the one to me that's really confusing. It looks like it should be 2 resolutions, not 1. The first one part says, directing the undertaking of a continuing disclosure review. That implies that there hasn't been a continuing disclosure review to date. Now, what this is, and the second part is authorizing participation in the municipality's continuing disclosure cooperation initiative of the Division of Enforcement of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, that's a self-reporting program the SEC started for, here it is, for municipalities that in their bond disclosures, where their official statements contained materially inaccurate statements. And you turn yourself in, and it doesn't say anything about an amnesty, so there probably will be a penalty. But the thing is, it's just confusing to me. I mean, were there materially inaccurate statements in the bond disclosures that would require going to the SEC? It's unusual because this, the time period to go ends September 10th, and the next freeholder meeting is September 11th. So it looks to me like somebody's going to start looking at this stuff, and if they think there were materially inaccurate statements, they're going to take it upon themselves to go to the SEC without checking with this board. So that doesn't make sense unless there were materially inaccurate statements, and I believe there are at least 2 major instances, and you will be going to the SEC. So that's 664 just confuses me, if somebody could just explain that. That's it.
We don't want you to be confused. Director Taylor, would you kindly come up and give an explanation on 664?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Indeed, Resolution 664 does deal with the SEC disclosure, continuing disclosure. Municipalities, all local governments nationally have an obligation when they have outstanding debt to report on the EMA website any material items that affect their financial disclosure. This new program that the SEC has implemented speaks to all local entities that have issued debt. And essentially, it is trying to make sure that all issuers, whether or not they've maintained their continuing disclosure. What's interesting about this item is that the SEC has not actually determined and defined what is material as far as their continuing disclosure or entities not meeting that continuous disclosure requirement. So as a result, the local finance board, New Jersey State Local Finance Board, has opted to issue a local finance notice encouraging all local officials, all CFOs, to enter into and adopt the resolution as a safeguard measure. The original deadline was September 10th. However, the deadline has been extended to December 1st. And so this resolution essentially authorizes the administration to do a review going back 5 years of any debt outstanding and review all of the OSs to ensure that we are compliant with our continuing disclosure. I can tell you since 2011 and 12, we've updated our disclosures, and there were some items wherein whether the audit wasn't updated back in 2009 and uploaded to EMA, I think there was a 10-day delay in one instance. So it's those type of things that we're looking at, and the definition of materiality has not been determined. But to err on the safe side and to protect the interests of the issuer, the County of Union, we're going to undertake the review and then file a questionnaire with the SEC as required under this program, and basically take advantage of the amnesty program because there still is ambiguity on the definition of materiality.
But just to be clear, the Department of Community Affairs and the Division of Local Finance sent a directive, or not a directive, a recommendation to all municipal bodies, county and municipalities that have issued debt to undertake this resolution.
Absolutely. And it is an item where the county does maintain its disclosure, but again, going back to the definition of materiality, that's one that's ambiguous, and we are trying to be proactive to protect our interests and to, again, review all items going back for the 5-year window.
677. That would be the Deputy County Manager. Very happy to see a project moving forward at Wardenko. That's going to include a chiller, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We will have a chiller for the next season. And basically what this resolution asks is for the county manager to enter an award for engineering and architectural service contracts. What it doesn't mean is, that's what it means for Warrenanko. But as far as Oak Ridge, we are still exploring options there.
Thank you. And in regards to 690, the Star Ledger changed their name so they can bill us. And they're now New Jersey Advanced Media. So I don't know what else to read in on that one. Any other members of the public wish to speak?
Good evening. I'm Michael Vernatico from Summit, New Jersey. I'm a vice president of the Bryant Park Conservancy, and with me tonight is Anton Evers, immediate past president of the Conservancy and currently treasurer. And I just want to address item 674. I think this item is a great example of a public-private partnership showing that government and the people can really work together for successes for the people. The Conservancy was formed a number of years ago, and the Conservancy raised the money privately to do a master plan for the park. And that master plan became the basis on which we were able to apply for a state grant for Green Acres. Freeholder Kowalski was very, very instrumental in helping us make that application. We were successful, and we appreciate the fact that the county has matched the state grant. And this award of this contract tonight will kick off this project, which will be of really great importance to the county, and particularly the residents of Springfield and Summit, because that's where the park lays. I just want to thank you again for your participation in the grant. We very much appreciate that. And I just have to say that in this process, which has been fairly complicated, as you can imagine with a park, further complicated by the fact that in the middle of all this, it was named a historic site by the state of New Jersey. But everybody we worked with at the county was just great. They were absolutely as professional, as helpful as could be, and we are very grateful for all their assistance. So we look forward to the start of this project and hopefully working together with you on future projects for the park in the future. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Anton Evers. I live in Summit, New Jersey, and I am past president of the Olmsted Conservancy. We've tried to get this park improved for the last 12 years, and we finally now have been successful. And I do appreciate the help that the county has given us and the freeholders, and I think that once it's done, you'll see a beautiful park which is already being used by a number of people. So thank you very much again.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions for adoption?
Good evening, Pat Moschetti, New Providence. Resolution 660 and 661, we're modifying the budget. I'm assuming it's their increases that we can't tell for sure, for State Facilities Education Act and the Workforce Learning Link Program. So the basic question here is, what is the money being used for? Resolution 678, on page 7. This has to do with a group at Rutgers University working with the Union County Workforce Investment Board to conduct a qualitative evaluation of the Union County workforce system, including the one-stop career centers. The question is, why is it being done at this time? Is the one-stop career centers, are they not working properly? Resolution 681. We're getting $1.3 million of federal grant for individual training contracts. And the question here is, how many individual training contracts will be created for this $1.3 million? And in the past, if we had these grants, what is the past success ratio of turning this training opportunities into jobs for the folks that are being trained? 685 is a resolution involving Cranford, and it's Tuesday, August 5th, yet you're approving something that's 9 days old. So how do you approve something that already happened? That's just a curiosity point of view. Not sure how you can do that or why you would do that. 689. Another thing with Rutgers Cooperative Extension, Cook College, New Brunswick, utilizing educational services of certain members of their faculty for $91,000. Here again, this program looks like it started January 1st, so we're 9 months into the program, and we haven't finalized yet in terms of the dollars. You don't have any leverage when it's 9 months into the program, and you only have 4 months to go. So, and what's the money being used for? What's the purpose of the Rutgers folks helping us out in Union County? That's it. Thank you.
Antonio Rivera, would you mind coming up and discussing the WIB, please?
Good evening, Chairman, freeholders. With respect to Resolution 661, Workforce Learning Dollars, that is to provide adult and basic skills education, GED training preparation for clients in Union County, and that is a state grant. As it relates to Resolution 678, Rutgers University Heldridge Center, the qualitative evaluation, that is a requirement of the state of New Jersey, the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. We are required to conduct an annual quantitative and qualitative evaluation. On the quantitative side, we have a program with a collaboration with FutureWorks that crunches the data in terms of our performance. On the qualitative side, we've done it in-house historically, but we need a lot more assistance to really kick up our programming efforts a notch. As it relates to Resolution 681, the $1.3 million in individual training accounts, this is to train individuals who are dislocated in Union County. There are over 400 programs throughout the county, over 50 vendors, but the individuals are not limited to attending training programs in Union County alone. Having said that, the $1.3 million in investment is very important. Today, a study just came out by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, which indicates that Union County leads the state of New Jersey in wage growth as of December, fourth quarter of December 2013. So that's in part and parcel with a large part due to the fact that the Freeholder body and the Union County Workforce Investment Board are making strategic investments in the community and training and helping to get folks who are dislocated back into the labor force. So I personally would like to commend you folks, the Freeholders, for making the strategic investments in our community. So thank you.
Thank you. In regards to 685, unfortunately, we accept, and County Council, correct me if I'm wrong, we accept resolutions from the municipalities. Occasionally, they don't meet up with our meeting schedule when we deal with things like parades and road closures and things like that. So this is effectively ratifying the decision that we made? Okay.
Excuse me, Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
If I could just add to that, I think that this was a very last-minute decision on the part of the police department, which the municipality approved, and then we, as a matter of form, as you said, approved it.
Thank you.
So we didn't get early notice on this.
No, thank you, Freeholder Kowalski, but as is our custom, if one of the municipalities asks for a reasonable closure for a community celebration like this time, we always make every attempt to accommodate that request, and that was the case in Cranford, and this is effectively the bookkeeping on that particular matter. Director, Deputy County Manager, do you want to tackle 689? That is the Rutgers Cooperative Extension. Director Taylor, do you want to come up and tackle that?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, this resolution is essentially authorizing 25% of the staff over at the Rutgers Cooperative Extension Program that we help support. And so this is the portion that goes directly to Rutgers for the professional staff there that are Rutgers employees.
Thank you. And again, 660 and 661, these are not programmatic resolutions. They're simply budget modifications for all of the grant. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions?
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood. On page 3, number 642, authorizing the county manager to give $75,000 to the HART grant program, which I just want to comment that, this was the initiative of ex-Freeholder Sullivan a good 10, 12 years ago. It's nice arts and crafty type organizations getting the money, but this number has been the same for 10 years. Not that I'm asking it to increase it, but I mean, something tells me it should be a review and and maybe, determine an increase for the people. Just a comment on that.
We should spend more on the HART grant.
It sounds strange, but we're talking about moments here, right? But, but
I'm glad you clarified that, Chairman. I wasn't sure I heard that right.
We got two.
On page 4,
Your birthday?
on number 651 to all the way to 661, and obviously Freeholder Mirabella and myself, are interested in these. It's modifying the budget. I always ask the same question: if it's actually now offsetting our tax burden that we had in the budget, or is it more or less already included in the budget and it's just a pass-through? And I guess I do know the answer, but I'd like to hear about it. Number 664. Yeah, this is the one that John Berry was talking about, undertaking a disclosure review, and Director Taylor came up and she was talking about an amnesty program and that they are reviewing it. I guess my further question is actually who is doing this review? Because it's questionable about who has the background to do this in-depth review. And once the review is done and submitted to the SEC, I guess, is it possible to Oprah the report? Number 665 on page 5. This is increasing a contract $16,000 to $96,000 for Pino Consulting. And what it is an indirect cost plan, a Medicare, Medicaid cost reports for Runnels Hospital. This appears every year, it looks like, and you're spending $80,000 to $90,000 a year. But my question is, why are we paying Pino Consulting? Why can't the director of Runnels do this and save the $90,000 for the taxpayers? On page 6, number 669 at the top, and you mentioned about a last-minute schedule thing. I think it was for Cranford or somebody. But this again, this is what Freeholder Jala brought up as a last-minute thing. Nobody really asked a question, so here it is. There's a change in position control schedules, and I'm just asking for the public's knowledge. Could you please explain what this means? The next one down, 670. Yeah, this one, Purple Forge, you discussed about it. It's for application of smartphones, a program, and it's going to be imparting, I guess, pushing information to people that are inquiring about voting and how to register and stuff like that. This, to me, it's $35,000, but still, it shouldn't be done. I wish to vote no on that, only because your website already has that. If somebody's interested, go to the website, get the information. 673 on the same page. Contract to CME for $43,000. I just want to comment, CME donated to the Freeholder campaigns and also the crony campaigns, $123,000 in 4 years. And I think it's about time those who are running for election and obviously get the largesse of these donations, they should be abstaining due to a conflict of interest. Page 7. 677 on the top is Netta, $381,000. He donates also $14,000 for 4 years. I'm asking the same, those who are running for Freeholder should basically exclude themselves from the vote. Number 681, that's the $1.3 million for the Federal Workforce Act. I do appreciate the explanation, 400 programs, 50 vendors. I wish this great success. This is one of the purposes of the government because we are going through tough economic times and we need these programs and hopefully people can be gainfully employed. It's interesting that Director Rivera says the UC leads in the wage growth in all the other counties, but the other week we were yelling about raises to all the directors. I would have figured that the government raises also figures into this wage growth.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson.
That's it?
That's it.
No more moments?
It's your day.
Thank you.
Okay, so duly noted, Mr. Patterson's in favor of increasing HART grants. Let's bring Director Taylor up here to just further expound upon the values of 664, or the virtue of it. I guess the question was as to who would be conducting said review.
The review would be, through you, Mr. Chairman, excuse me, the review would be conducted with the finance staff within the county, as well as our professionals that we engage, our bond counsel specifically. And the review has to comport with the compliance that's spelled out under Rule 15C2-12 as authorized under the Securities Exchange of 1934, my apologies. And so there are people that are qualified, the same people that issue the debt on behalf of the county and authorized to do so. And according to the SEC and the local finance board, this is an initiative that is a self-reporting, i.e. the issuers at hand, which would be the County of Union.
Thank you. And I guess just again with 651 to 661, Director Taylor, those are just, ran so fast. I guess those are again just pass-throughs in terms of grants coming in, what the actual numbers are versus what we anticipated what the actual award was.
Absolutely. So the language of the resolutions modifying the 2014 budget is language that's promulgated by the Division of Local Government Services whenever a public entity has to accept special items of revenue such as grants. So that's the only legal mechanism to accept those grants and expend them in the current year budget.
So it doesn't necessarily mean we got less.
That is correct.
Goody. Thank you. Let's see. There's a whole bunch of what else we got here? 6. Okay. And I guess position controls will be on, that is a change of employment on, various county employees for various positions. A list will be on file in the clerk's office. 670, thank you for your comments on that. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions for adoptions? Seeing no one else, I will close that portion of the meeting. And may I have a motion to accept resolutions 2014-641 through 2014-704?
So moved. Second.
Motion was made by Freeholder Carter and seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Mr. Clerk, would you kindly read the roll?
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye to all with the exception of 670, and that I vote no.
Sorry, that 670, and that was a no.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative on all the resolutions with the exception of Resolution 2014-670, with a vote 8 in the favor and 1 in the negative.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to throw a little bit of a curveball, and I'm going to ask for a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Second.
The motion was made by the Vice Chairman, and it was seconded by Freeholder Mirabella. And Mr. Clerk, would you kindly read the roll?
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. As it turns out, a bit of a fumble when we were discussing the ordinance. As it turns out, there is a portion of that particular bond ordinance which does apply to road funding. And so to make sure that we give the public the proper information before voting, and County Council has recommended that we rescind the vote that we just took on the ordinance 758. Is that correct?
758.
758. We rescind that, we reopen the public hearing on that matter, and then we take a informed vote on it, just so for the benefit of both the public as well as the Freeholder Board. So I'm going to ask for a motion to rescind our vote on ordinance 758-2014.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella, and it was seconded by the Vice Chairman. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Excellent. before I begin the opening, the republic of hearing, could we have a more thorough explanation of the bond ordinance so we don't, or can we give that a bit of an explanation first so we don't make this mistake twice?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. There is a provision within the bond ordinance, as you said, that deals with road improvements, deals with intersections, bridge, and culvert improvements. Looking at it, I realize there may actually be a portion of which is attributable to paving. The exact details as to that, I would call upon the county engineer. This comes out of the Division of Engineering. But it's not just limited to turf fields. That certainly is a portion of it, as Director Zuber had explained.
Correct. County engineer, would you kindly come up and give a further explanation of that before we reopen public comment?
Yes, Freeholder Chair. The Division of Engineering requested monies for the general purpose of roads, bridges, et cetera, roads, bridges, culverts, and various intersections, for the purpose of giving us funding to allow us to proceed with some projects this fall that we'd otherwise have to hold back on. Specifically, the road project was part of it. We did the road project in 2 phases this year, and the second phase is going out to bid, or should be, and we needed additional funds to complete that project this year. Otherwise, this money would have come later, and we requested it would have come later, and we'd have to postpone it.
Thank you. At this point, I'm going to open up the floor for comment on the public for ordinance 758-2014. Anyone else wishing to speak? Come on up, sir. Take another bite at the apple.
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson Garwood. Actually, it is very disconcerting to be speaking about something and then obviously being corrected, but obviously it's incorrect, and it actually leads to a question as to, do the freeholders actually know what they're voting on then? Because if I was talking about paving and there was paving in it, I would assume all you guys voting on another bond of $7 million almost would say, oh, Mr. Patterson, there's paving. Even the person coming up, and I forgot who it was, maybe Director Zuber, came up, he didn't say anything about paving. So, but I mean, I do appreciate somebody caught the fact that, yes, there is paving in there. And I guess to return to my beginning of what I was talking about was, yes, you went into 2 phases of paving. That was a couple of months ago. I remember you discussed it. And to me, and this is during the budget session, you guys cut $1 million from the paving program, and you created this new division for Mayor Marr, who was out of work 8 out of 10 years. Is it directly funded? You know, is it a direct switch? No, but there it is. You know, you have a new division. It costs about $800,000. You take $1 million out of the budget of the paving program. Boy, it sure looks like a transfer to me just to give Mayor Marr of Famwood a job at the county. And again, I mentioned before that she's a political boss. She's the county political boss that oversees your campaigns. So I just wonder how this new division came about and her getting the job there. So, but anyway, but getting back, $1 million coming out of the paving program. Something tells me that there's going to be streets and potholes that are not going to be paved unless you scramble and borrow more money. So the taxpayers obviously are getting the short end of whatever's going on. I do appreciate you letting me speak on it, but it is very disconcerting that none of the freeholders even know what they're voting on, unless they'd like to disagree and disprove. Thank you very much.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak on the ordinance? Seeing no one else, I'm going to close the public comment. And I guess the clarification for me, at least, was if you look under the schedule, can I speak, County Council? Yeah. Under the department, it says schedule of improvements. It says undertaking road intersection, bridge, and culvert improvements. I believe the key word was paving, which is, you know, I wasn't sure that it didn't quote the paving, but County Council caught that. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Well, as you said, Mr. Chairman, it does not specify paving, but since the question was specifically asked and we only addressed the portion with the turf fields, I thought it was important that we rescind the vote and readdress the issue and bring to light the fact that it did involve some road improvements. That's why we called upon the engineer as to whether or not it included paving. It was just to properly inform the public and the board as well.
I agree, County Council, we should have a complete record. And if we have no other comments on it, I would ask Vice Chairman to move the ordinance.
Yes, I'll move ordinance number 758, 2014 for final reading and authorize the clerk of the board to advertise same in accordance with law.
Motion was made by the Vice Chairman, and it was seconded by Freeholder Mirabella. Clerk?
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella. Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. At this portion, the meeting is open for the purposes of commenting on any matter. Kindly say your name and town of residence, and remember there is a 5-minute time limit.
Pat Moschetti, New Providence. I have 2 topics. One, I was reading the Union News Daily. It's an electronic publication, and the staff writer on August 5th wrote about a recent roundtable that was at Kane University. And I just reading what the article is, but I guess Mr. Guzzo and Mr. Hudak attended that session. So if there's anything I say that's inappropriate or not right, please help out, because sometimes writers don't write the right thing. But basically, it was a roundtable where she said there was looking for possible solutions to lessen the trend of retirees leaving the state of New Jersey. And the people that were on the roundtable were political leaders, academics, and public servants. I'm not sure if that was the only people that represented it, but if that was, I think there were 2 groups that were not represented.
There were also members of the AARP and senior citizens present.
Great, that's good. Good to know. And I hope there was someone from the business community as well.
We had them too.
Okay. So there was a chance to brainstorm, have some facts and figures in front of folks, and I'm not really sure what the end result was or if there's something coming forward. But in there, I looked at the U.S. Census Bureau information. State of New Jersey has 14.4% of the population in 2013, 65 and older. And 65 and older group has the most financial assets in the United States. Union County has 12.9% of the population in 2013, 65 and older. So that's 11% lower than the state average. So where are those people? Where did the 65-year-old people go that would have been in Union County? That should have been like the state average. We're 11% less. Did they go to Delaware? Did they go to Florida? And did they take their financial assets with them? And if we're lower in Union County, we're losing an economic engine because they're going elsewhere, unless someone can tell me otherwise.
I'm sorry, so I just want to I was confused by your numbers. You said 13% of that population resides in New Jersey?
No. In the year 2013, the 65 and older crowd comprises 14.4% of the population of New Jersey.
The entire state of New Jersey?
Yes.
Of the entire
State.
nationwide population?
No, New Jersey.
Of New Jersey?
State of New Jersey.
Okay.
Union County, the same time period, 2013, 65 and over, it's only 12.9% of the population of Union County. That's 11% less than the average for the whole state. So we have less senior citizens in Union County. And I was saying, where have they gone? And they take a lot of money with them. Is this a growing trend? Because if you look at the world, a lot of people who are still hanging on in Union County don't have any money left. They've tapped out. If they're a fixed income and their property taxes go up, they're going to leave. And they're going to take their income, investments with them, their savings with them, and they're not going to spend it in Union County. That's a growing trend. And the boomers, baby boomers, who are paying for college tuition, and they're now waking up to pay for to catch up for their retirement, are not going to have disposable income in Union County to pay for things. That's another thing you need to realize. It's growing. Second thing is Union County Utility Association. As much as I've been able to read, they had an investigation regarding the stipends, $82,000 of lawyer fees for the county, and let's say another $8,000 to represent Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Brennan, $90,000 spent. The end result was two folks gave $21,000 back, so it was a net loss of $69,000. The other 5 people kept their $500 a month. The investigators said they were compensated for doing additional services. So logic says if they were paid the money and kept it, then why didn't Sullivan and Brennan keep their money as well?
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson Garwood, and I do thank, I didn't know who was the one that uncovered that there was paving in the ordinance, but I thank Council Barry for bringing it up, so thank you very much, Council Barry. I wasn't going to speak on this, but obviously Pat Moschetti did start talking about the baby boomers leaving in droves. I actually have the newspaper right in front of me. And yeah, there were various members of society that were on this round table, but I really, a couple of names, the names that were mentioned, they didn't name everybody, but they only mentioned some names, and it was Chairman Hudak, and Director Guzzo, President Frahi of Kane College, and Jamal Holly, who's mayor of Roselle, and I read this and I chuckled because I really would like to know how Freeholder Hudak actually got his job over at Kane College, because he was a manager of events and promotions when you didn't have any experience in that. So maybe you could explain that. As to Director Guzzo, ex-Freeholder, Freeholder Scanlon stepped down, and she said she was going to spend more time with the family. 1 month later, she got a job at the county, under Director Guzzo. President Ferrari of Kane, he was found to actually have fabricated his resume with many fraudulent items in his resume, and he became president. Did he step down? No, the trustees actually said, well, integrity is really for the staff and the students of Kane, has nothing to do with the administration. So, this could be one of the reasons why people are leaving, that there's no belief that we have a good government in place, that it seems to be more or less all self-serving. So I just wanted to talk about that and just continue on what Pat Moschetti was bringing up. What I actually am here for, and it has to do with the UCIA, UCUA, and actually, again, Pat Moschetti brought that up. But back during the budget session, I sent a letter. I had talked to Morris County, and I sent a letter to Budget Chair Jala about the possibility of bringing this UCIA back into the county. That would save some money. I wrote a detailed letter. All the freeholders got that, and nothing came of it. I don't know if you guys even looked at it, but here we are with ex-freeholder Director Sullivan, who was obviously caught taking some secret stipend, which he claims was for additional work. And yes, the taxpayers paid for almost another $90,000 to uncover and return $21,000. Usually if somebody was that bad and found guilty, they should be paying that $82,000. That's my question. How come you're not making Director Sullivan pay that $90,000 that the taxpayers spent to uncover his misfeasance or malfeasance? So anyway, so combine the UIA, get rid of Director Sullivan, because the Westfield Leader also said that in their editorial. Something's not right with him. He's not fit for the job. Another thing, and Sheriff Froelich, rest in peace. I know he passed away recently. But now we are at the threshold of a perfect opportunity. Many people came up here and were asking about the sheriff's office and the county police to merge. It turns out Union County is the last county to actually have separate departments. Bergen County being the previous one last year, merged. They said they saved $3 million. I don't know if that's true or not, but obviously we're looking at some kind of savings for the taxpayers. And here we are with an opportunity now that Sheriff Froelich had passed away, that you can move forward and combine these two departments and hopefully savings. And I don't know what kind of excuses I'm going to hear that you can't, but 20 out of 21 counties did it already. Union County, who seems to always be claiming to be on the forefront of everything. Even tonight there was something about, oh, we lead the counties in wage growth. Well, here we go. Why don't we finally just give in, merge, save money for the taxpayers? One thing, if you're not going to do that, I don't know who you're bouncing around for who's the new sheriff, who's a constitutional officer that's being elected, but Vincent DeTrolio, who just retired, I listened to his, I listened to his resume. He's an amazing guy. If you're going to consider, talk to him. Thank you.
Okay, John Berry of Kenilworth. Getting back to this SEC disclosure cooperation initiative, it's not an amnesty program. According to their release, it says those issuers and underwriters who self-report may receive more favorable settlement terms with the SEC than will be available if the issuer or underwriter fails to self-report and the SEC later brings an enforcement action regarding the violations. And it looks fairly serious. Further down in their release, they go into this initiative is intended to address potentially widespread violations of the federal securities laws in connection with representations by issuers about continuing disclosures in bond offering documents. It gives an example of the West Clark Community Schools, where back in 2013 they falsely stated to bond investors that the school had been properly providing annual information and notices, and they hadn't. And $279,000 in prejudgment interest and a penalty of $300,000 they got. Now, the SEC, in its release, stated that there is significant concern that many issuers have not been complying with their continuing disclosure obligations and that federal securities law violations involving false statements concerning such compliance may be widespread. And they wanted you to note that it is not solely the failure to comply with continuing disclosure obligations. Rather, it is the failure coupled with the false statements in bond offerings that it has complied with prior obligations. So there could be a double penalty. And the SEC, I mean, it's monopoly money. They could be going millions of dollars in fines for this. Now, specifically, Union County, and there may be others, I mean, I didn't look into detail, but the OPEB note in the audit is garbage. If you look at the Essex County, they're doing it right. It's a cumulative number. OPEB obligation started in '07. You started having to report it. Brown & Brown did a study, and for about 5 years now, which may also increase the penalties when SEC looks at that, the continuing over and over again, the net OPEB obligation has been reported as the 1 year net OPEB obligation. It's not cumulative. So Union County is reporting like $40 million for retiree benefits, and that's the 1 year thing. Whereas look at Essex County, and they're doing it right. I mean, it's going up from year to year. It's like $200 million. So that's an obvious, I mean, anybody who knows anything at all about OPEBs would spot that. There's also the thing about, the Open Space Trust Fund and where's that going, and the Open Space Trust Fund is going to be gone. And you're using that for operating expenses, but it's going to be gone probably in 2020 and that really should be reported. And those are the two things that just pop out at me just glancing over this thing. There may be others. So I would recommend, I'll look at the local finance notice and all, but this isn't just a, send something to the SEC just to cover ourselves. This is actually fairly serious, and especially if bonds start defaulting from Union County. I mean, and you're aware of it now, and there were false disclosures, there could be, liabilities for a lot of other people. I would recommend you kind of look at this more seriously than it appears you are.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting. And we will begin with Freeholder comments on my left with Freeholder Kowalski.
Thank you, Chairman. We've had a lot of interesting material at tonight's meeting. I'd like to thank the people who came to speak, particularly Undersheriff DeTrolio's family. Wish him well in his retirement. He'll be very much missed. Also, Mr. Evers and Mr. Bernatico. Some of the things that we covered tonight, in addition to the parks issues, park grants, baseball association, and of course our human services, WIB and youth services. I want to just mention that about the application for making information on voting more accessible to voters. I really am proud that we're starting this initiative at a time when there are so many places in other parts of the United States that are making it difficult for people to vote. Union County is making voting information more accessible. This is the direction we need to go in, to keep reaching out to our voters and make sure that people are well informed about the voting process. Also about the SEC and bonds, I have full confidence in our financial director and her department, and Moody's and S&P do as well. We have an excellent financial rating. Our bonds are properly handled. We had a little glitch tonight and an explanation, but that does not reflect on the fact that we are in very good shape financially for a county, and we will all continue to work to uphold that. Finally, I would like to just thank the carpenter's apprentices who volunteered to help with the project of Deserted Village and the Watchung Reservation. You may have read in the paper about the building that has the murals from the Nicaraguan muralist Roberto de la Selva, and the Carpenter's Apprentice Program stepped forward to offer help with this. It's very expensive to do historical restoration. And to have carpenters volunteer their services, it's just a great thing to see. I was able to visit and speak to a couple of the carpenters in person. We've also received support from the Open Space Trust Fund and from the New Jersey Historic Trust. We are committed to preserving New Jersey history as much as we can. When we can get a little help to do it, even better. So go have a look in Deserted Village if you haven't been there lately. There's a lot of nice things to see, and it's very pretty in the summer. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder Kowalski. Freeholder Carter.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to remind all of our business owners that you can now register for the next session of our ongoing Union County Means Business Networking Breakfast Series. Series will be held on September the 8th at 8 a.m. at the Holiday Inn in Clark. The program that is scheduled this time is designed to teach you the 10 things every business owner should know in 100 minutes. Useful tips will be presented and cover everything from insurance cover to disaster planning. You can register for the program by accessing the application on the Union County Means Business website. You can go to ucnj.org/business or by following the link on the home page right there at ucnj.org. It's one of the things, our website has become a lot user-friendly, and we have a lot of information, just not about Union County Means Business, but about all of the programs we have going on here in the county, especially a lot of our summer programs. As the season winds down, as the summer is coming to a close, and a lot of our students are getting ready to go back to school, wishing them well, wishing all those who are off to college safe travels, have a great time studying this year, and good luck in the school year. That's it, Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Carter. Freeholder Estrada.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. One announcement here. The County Clerk, Joanna Rajapi, recently announced that the National Passport Center, a division of the U.S. State Department, has issued certificates of excellence to the passport services to the clerks in her Elizabeth and Westfield offices. The county's passport agents were assessed and deemed to have the highest level of proficiency and experience. Our staff members were also interviewed on policies to guarantee each of our certificates agents qualified to act on behalf of the National Passport Center. Ms. Rajapi and her staff all worked diligently in order to provide the best passport service in Union County to its residents. As always, we invite everyone who may need passports to visit our offices, to visit our website, www.ucnj.org/passports for more information. It's interesting, over the years, that office has done an admirable job compared to other places. For example, one of the things is that it doesn't require an appointment. You just walk in. There's plenty of parking in Westfield. Elizabeth's a little more restricted in terms of parking, but it still is accessible. So we ask our residents, give yourself enough time, because apparently there's a very large demand for people requesting passport, and the U.S. Passport Office is taking a little longer than usual. No, this is important for planning purposes. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Freeholder Estrada. Freeholder Mirabella, do you have any comments this evening?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to announce the tickets are now on sale for the 3rd Annual Union County Sensory Friendly Theater Series. This is an initiative that I started in 2012 that this board has continued the last several years, and really provides a great opportunity and environment for our residents that have autism. And autism disorders affect 1 in 88 U.S. children, according to U.S. government estimates. Children with a diagnosis are often very sensitive to loud noises and harsh lights, and they find it hard to sit or remain quiet. The sensory-friendly music, theater, and dance performances are specially adapted according to these guidelines to help reduce disturbances for these children and adults with autism and other sensory sensitivities. The Sensory-Friendly Theater series kicks off this fall with an inquisitive, lovable little monkey, Curious George, on September 21st, and the Winter Adventures of Frosty on November 23rd. There are 4 additional sensory-friendly performances scheduled in the series, including a puppet show about dinosaurs, a musical, a ballet, and a children's music concert. These performances are presented at the main stage in the Union County Performing Arts Center in Rahway. All seats are $8 per person and can be purchased through the UC PAC at ucpac.org or by calling the box office at 732-499-8226. While I'm on the topic of music and the summer, I want to give a commercial out to the Wednesday night concert series that has been going on all summer here in our parks. I know we had a successful event last night in Plainfield, and there was many events at Echo Lake Park and now at Oak Ridge Park. And highlighted in my mind was a concert coming up this week, next week actually, Bernard Purdy, world-class drummer from our own county, from Springfield. So Bernard as a band, and it's going to be a really, I think, special event. And for folks that want to come out and see Bernard Purdy put on a great show. I mean, this is a gentleman who played with Aretha Franklin and Steely Dan, and on some Beatles records, helping Ringo with some work. So this guy's quite a talent that we have right under our nose here in Union County. And I'd be remiss if I didn't speak about another concert series that's going very well in Rahway, Mayor Steinman's concert series on Thursdays. And next week is going to be Southside Johnny and the Poor Fools at 7:30 right behind the Union County Art Center. So I encourage the freeholders that can make it and the public that can make it to attend those shows. I think they're going to be great fun for everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder Mirabella. Freeholder Wright?
No,
All right. Making it up tonight. Freeholder Granados?
Yes, just want to make mention that Freeholder Vernell Wright and myself attended a College for Teens program held at Union County College. It's sponsored by the Union County Freeholder Board. I definitely want to thank you guys on your initiative. I know this program already started a couple years back, in which over 1,000 students have gone through this program. And it's just great to see the kids learning new occupations, new career paths for when they go to college. And asking the simple question of how many individuals are the first person in their family going to college. And there was over 30 different students saying they're going to be the first member in their family going to college. And I can relate to that because I am the first member of my family going to college. So I definitely appreciate the program you guys created and definitely all the hard work you've done to make sure this program keeps moving forward and growing each year. And also, I just want to make mention to Director Rivera in reference to, I just looked it up, the multiple New Jersey counties showing signs of employment and wage increases. You can visit on njbiz.com. Has a study and says Union County represented the largest growth with 5.2%, while Morris County came in second with 5% gains. So I definitely want to congratulate the Freeholder Board, Economic Development Department, and definitely the Workforce Investment Board and ACT grant we have for all the programs they've created and making sure we have a steady and great outlook for our future.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Bergen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to respond to a couple things that came from the audience tonight. First, Mr. Machete talks about the fact that seniors are moving out of Union County, and that's a fact. I mean, that can't be disputed. But what I would dispute is whether that is or isn't a bad thing. And I would challenge you that the facts may not underlie that that's bad, that 65 and older are moving out, because new people are moving in, young families who are working. Potentially somebody who's a senior is not working, they're not making an income other than maybe from investments. I don't know the answer, but I would suggest it's not intuitively obvious that that's a bad thing, that young families are moving in who have jobs, who are building their homes, building their families, spending money, increasing our economy. So though I don't disagree with the underlying fact, your conclusion that that's a bad thing, I don't know that that's necessarily true. A couple people mentioned the SEC filings and so on, and I would suggest that it is incorrect to imply that because Union County is following the suggestion of the Department of Community Affairs, that is in any way a reflection that we've done anything wrong. And in fact, it's just the opposite. We are attempting to do the right thing, and to imply anything else, I think just is stretching the truth there. I have to also disagree with the chairman and Mr. Patterson when it comes to the smartphone app for voting, and agree with Freeholder Kowalski. Young people today communicate differently, and Mr. Chairman, you may fall into young people, but I should. If we are going to interest young people in voting, get them involved in the system, we need to communicate the way they communicate. Respectfully, Mr. Patterson, the website doesn't do it anymore. I'm told websites are passé. If it's not on Facebook, if it's not on your smartphone, it's not going to get to them. And that's why I think it's just a fabulous thing. And I think we should be very proud of our clerk's office for taking the lead on that, the first county in New Jersey to have such an app. So I think that that's a wonderful thing. And then I do want to just speak really briefly about Bryant Park in Springfield and Summit. You've heard a little bit about it. It's a 51-acre park. It straddles the two towns. The Bryant Park Conservancy is unique in Union County. They're the only park conservancy in our county that has the ability to get Green Acres funds. And they did, in fact, with the help of the county, as you heard, apply for Green Acres funds. And we are matching those funds because that's required by Green Acres. So there is now a substantial fund of money to renovate and improve that park. I just really briefly want to go through a couple of things that the current funds are going to take care of. There's going to be a gazebo with electricity, nature trails, improving the irrigation and the retaining walls that are there, refurbishing some of the granite block and bluestone caps on the retaining wall, adding benches, including accessible paths, tree removal and trimming, and a new bridge over the Van Winkle Brook. I know my wife walks frequently in Bryant Park. It is a well-used park, but certainly these improvements are wonderful, and as the members of the Conservancy said, it's a great example of a private-public partnership to everybody's advantage. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder Bergen. I will be retorting your, rebutting your remarks in my own comments. County Council, do you have any comments this evening?
No comments tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Deputy County Manager?
No comments.
All right, Steering Claire. Vice Chairman, any comments?
No comments at this time.
Excellent. Just a couple things. I wanted to extend my congratulations and thanks to Vincent DeTrolio, who has served Union County extraordinarily well for a very long time. And, you know, we're very confident in the hands that he's left us in and the men that he's trained and men and women that he's trained over the years. So he's earned his break, and we're sorry to see him go, but he did a fine job for Union County. In regards to, you know, the comments on the senior forum, and I just want to, you know, respond to a couple things in terms of why people move out. Maybe it's because New Jersey taxes pensions. Maybe it's because New Jersey, unlike several southern states, doesn't tax income tax. Maybe it's because when people buy a home, it's their largest investment that they can afford, much like I have two sets of grandparents that when I was growing up, one set lived in Union, one set lived in Elizabeth. And within the last 15 years, or last 20 years, they both sold their houses, which they bought maybe for $10,000, $20,000 for, you know, $350,000, $400,000, and it was their largest single investment, and they were able to cash out. And why go into a bigger home or a more expensive home? Why not go into something a little smaller, a little more affordable, which is what both sets did. Maybe it's because many of the other communities have what's called complete streets, which are designed for elderly people and people who have mobility issues, longer sidewalks, easier to get around, flatter communities. Regardless, I want to echo Freeholder Bergen's comments in terms of it does allow new people to come into the community. This is one of the most economically vibrant regions in the entire country, and there's a reason it attracts people who want to conduct business in the New Jersey, New York area and do a lot of trade, and they'll make a lot of money. And ultimately, that's going to turn over, and one day, you know, maybe I'll be selling my home to the next people who are coming in to make this region so great. Finally, in regards to the voter app, I find myself defending a vote. You know, and I don't criticize the clerk's office for doing this. I had some extensive conversations with the deputy county clerk who went after her presentation. I wasn't here last week, so I talked to her quite a bit about it. And really, you know, my concern overall is that I think ultimately we're going to be spending a little more money on this project in the long term, and I do appreciate that she's trying to get the information out now. But the fault's not really between Union County. The fault is with the state of New Jersey. The administration has shown an unwillingness to expand voting accessibility in the state of New Jersey, whether it's through early voting, whether it's through allowing electronic signatures so that people can either vote or vote by mail electronically. It's a very antiquated system we have of pushing paper, and it's just kind of silly in 2014. And so I think, you know, part of my concern on this was that we would be spending money in the short run to only have to do it again. But I do appreciate what they're doing. I just couldn't support this particular resolution. Finally, we do have, you know, we're going to have an executive, but I do want to announce that I'm very pleased. Tomorrow we will officially launch the Wi-Fi network and demonstrate technology upgrades at Trailside Nature and Science Center. The demonstration will include technology scavenger hunt throughout the center using the Wi-Fi network and QR codes. The event marks the completion of my initiative to install free Wi-Fi at 6 county facilities. Following tomorrow's event, residents will be able to access emails, social media, browse the internet while at the following Union County facilities: the Fraser Building in Westfield, the Warnaco Park Skating Rink, Wheeler Pool in Linden, Ehrlich Pool in Rahway, Nomahegan Park in Cranford, and including the Trailside Nature and Science Center. Many thanks to the IT staff who put in a great effort and to make sure that the Wi-Fi initiative was completed in good time during the summer so the residents could enjoy it in these facilities. And I mean, I got a number of emails from people in Linden who were using the soccer field at Wheeler Park and were able to tap into the Wi-Fi at the pool, and they were very happy with it. So very happy about that, and apparently you could also get information on registering to vote as well now through the internet. Come on, it's funny. All right, we're going to go to an executive session, and County Council, can you please read your statement?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, the public body may enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing certain enumerated subjects. This board now wishes to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing anticipated contract negotiations as to proposed terms and conditions for inclusion in collective bargaining agreements with various collective bargaining units. Personnel matter, attorney-client privilege communication, and potential additional contract negotiations with Center Management Group LLC relative to Runnels Specialized Hospital, and anticipated contract negotiations and attorney-client privilege communications relative to a contract between the County of Union and JFK Hospital and City of Plainfield. The minutes of the executive session shall be separated from the minutes of the open public session. Minutes of the executive session, redacted as appropriate and necessary, shall be available in approximately 30 days. Clerk to the board shall retain the original minutes till such time as confidential limitations have been removed, at which time they shall be made available. Upon the affirmative vote of a majority of the members present, the board may retire to executive session. Upon the board's return, it will not take any formal action on the matters discussed.
Motion to enter executive session?
So moved. Second.
Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella, seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need a roll call?
Please.
Roll call, please.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski. Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hume.
Aye.
With 9 votes in the affirmative.
We're in exec.
You want me to say aye on that?
Seconded by the Vice Chairman. Mr. Clerk, read the roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Yes.
And we have 9 votes. in favor.
County Council, any statements regarding the executive session?
No statements necessary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Freeholders, any other comments, questions, additions, anything to add to this meeting?
No.
Great. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You guys have a good couple of weeks.